we have we've honestly done. Obviously, we've had contacts and we've had conversations and people that have introduced us to deals. This is another way of going to market, which is rather than waiting for the deals to arrive to us, we create the deals. And that's something that we're going to probe into today. And I know yourself and the pair of us had a conversation beforehand, but give us a bit of background, because you've got a different background to a lot of us in the company. Give us a little bit of background to yourself first and the property, and how, I suppose, how we met as well. That'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm not naturally from a finance background, and I was formerly a client of yours. So that's how we met. So we met, I think you and I met in 2018 following some Instagram interactions. Is that correct?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of took it from there, looked at a couple of deals on and off over the following years. And then I think it was one you funded for me on my Desborough development in 2021. So that was a development exit, and it was a ground up development of 4 houses in Desborough. Yeah, and then we've done a couple of deals following that on commercial conversions, and then I joined in April, May 2025.
Just reminded me of the first deal that we actually did do together. So obviously we met pre-COVID, and the first deal we did was post-COVID, which was a developer exit, but a developer exit in the midst of COVID, wasn't it? When the CBILS loan were at their at the forefront there at that time. So yeah, that's a time that we need to put behind us, isn't it? It was obviously very, very helpful to have
that. I did very well off the back of the CBILS. So, and you know, timing was right, market conditions were just right, and so yeah, that one went well.
Excellent. Well, look, that's a quick bit of background on Rory. Look, so Rory, why don't you share your screen, and then let's walk through an opportunity as to, I suppose, how you try and break this process down, because if you can be process driven and can drive that, that's something that we're really focused on, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Here it comes. Yeah. So I can see a document at the moment. Right, brilliant. Okay, so we've got a map. So before we jump into that map, you've obviously pulled up a site there that you'll talk us through in a second. But just before you do, give us like a little bit of criteria here. So we've got software. There's lots of software out in the market to help us with this. There's all sorts of brands that we can mention, but we use a few of them at Hallcroft. So Rory's using one here today to source in a location with certain labels on it, I would imagine, and then you take it through the process. So maybe give us the process of how you found this one, and then we can talk about the deal itself.
So this one, I think this one came from a targeted search for 1 to 2 acre sites local to us in central Bedfordshire. And these software platforms have preset filters that you can adjust. So I basically made some adjustments to it, and then it basically fires up however many opportunities there are within your geographical location, and you have to go through them one by one and just assess them. Basically, what I do is a very high level assessment using the aerial image of the site. So I will look for things like, is the site within the adopted settlement boundary? What is the access like to the site? And then there's a number of other filters that are available to us. Information on, if I just open this up here. So we get to see things like the SHLA, the strategic housing land availability assessment. And you can see that this site here was actually designated as deliverable for 15 units in 2018. So that's a big tick. Other things that are available with the software is you can see what the current local authority's 5-year housing land supply is. Now, any local authority that can't demonstrate a 5-year.
We seem to have lost him. Jack and James. Oh, you got it back. There we go. Yeah, lost you. You're back. You're back. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that any local authority that can't demonstrate a 5-year housing land supply automatically swings the principle of development back in your favour. So obviously this is a good site here. So what we did was we reached out to
Rory on that. Yeah, I can just see on the map. Can you make that a bit bigger? Because obviously I can see it, but what we've got there, if we define that white line, is the edge of settlement, isn't it? I'm correct in saying that?
That's the edge of the settlement, yeah. So that is the adopted settlement boundary. Anything outside of that is classed as, I guess, as open countryside.
Yeah. And then the site you're looking at is the purple one that we can just see. It's a bit thinner, it's a bit fainter, but that's the one, isn't it? It's a bit, which is a bit irregular, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So what it is it's a semi-detached house with a large garden and then some fields at the back of it, which actually the homeowner has horses right on the northern boundary there. And yes, they keep horses there. Sorry. There is an access track. There is an access track here, which is within the title, which usually would be great for development for access to a backland development. Unfortunately, highways rules state that a single track access lane, which this is at the front section here, can only service up to 5 dwellings. So I think we've got 1, 2, 3. I think we've got more than that here. So that would then mean that we couldn't develop. So the issue that we face with this site is basically access. Now on the rear here, if I can just switch this on, we have got an allocated site. Now this site to the back that's just come up in yellow, this has been allocated for up to 2,000 homes. So whilst it's our adopted settlement boundary, once that land is developed, then obviously the settlement boundary will the line of that will change. So our site, which is just on the edge of that, will then be fully within the settlement boundary.
And what's the timeline on that look like, Rory? So if that's been allocated now or looking to be allocated for 2,000 homes, it looks like that site there in that we were just looking at, it becomes a bit landlocked, doesn't it? Really, like as in the settlement will change, the edge of settlement will change. Therefore, the opportunity of getting houses on there, I take it, will be higher rather than lower.
Well, yeah, you'd like to think so, but the issue that you've got to overcome is the one of access, and unfortunately, because of the rear access not being suitable for a larger development, you would need to access via another landowner's land. And then what you find with that usually is they know they've got you over a barrel. And it brings a lot more complexity into the negotiations and obviously affects the viability of the scheme, because ultimately it means you're paying out more money.
Yeah. And so we've got so far on this project to date, you've identified some of the risks that are involved with it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, oh, sorry.
Yeah. So take us to where you are in the process now, because clearly this is one you would probably put in the bin had there not been an opportunity. So you've identified some of the risks. Have you started overcoming those risks? And I take it you're in conversations already with the landowner.
Yeah. So what I do when I identify a site like this is I will write to the landowner and send them a speculative letter, explain to them who we are, what we do, and how we can help them, and let them know that we think that their land has development potential. Now, this particular owner came back to me straight away. He was aware of the fact that the land has potential. I think he's had a number of conversations with various interested parties over the years. He told me that I think there's been 25 people come to him, and every time the issue that has prevented them moving forward with it has been the access. So I went and met with him, had a good meeting with him, had a look at the site, walked the site with him, had a look down the access track, and then went away, did a bit of an appraisal, and then sent that over to him, and just kind of said to him, well, if we can't get around the access issues, then we kind of, we can't, like you just said there, you're landlocked and there's not really a lot we can do. So just kept in touch with him, really. Asked him, he said he knows the landowner on the back here. He's rented a field off him, I think, this section before, that he no longer rents from him. And I said, well, if you've got a good relationship with him, maybe it would be worth having a chat with him and seeing if he would provide access either this way or this way at the end of the street. And nothing came back. I did say to him that if I can just zoom in, you'll get a better view on it. So this is the landowner's house, and as you can see, it's a semi-detached property. I said to him, obviously, if you can punch in and demolish both houses, then you have a clear access route into the back. And I can actually show you on that how precedent has been set, because further up here, I think it's on the high street here. Up on the high street here, there is, I think it's these two. Yeah, so these two houses here, semi-detached houses, and they've got permission to demolish them and create an access road into the back of this allocated site here. And I think this is about, although that allocation says 1,000, I think their section of land runs to this section here. And I think they've got 100 houses and a care home facility going in there. So obviously the power of the software that we've got and the information that we can get from it shows us that there's a clear argument for doing something similar down on the subject site that we're looking at today.
Good. So that's all promising. So you're right. You joined the beauty parade there, so to speak. He mentioned that you guess there's 25 people that have been in touch, and he's always had the same sort of conversations and issues. And sometimes it's just about timing, right? It's you've joined the back of the queue, 25, but actually timing might be right on it. Who knows? But it sounds like you've got to overcome that problem. Are you talking to any professionals at the moment on it in terms of trying to find a way to solve the problem, the risk that you identified, and B, then to carry on the negotiations?
Yeah, so I've been speaking with one of the group members, Nick Stafford, who is a planning consultant on it, and he came to the same conclusion as me. Ideally, we're going to need both properties to be able to get in and provide sufficient width for an access road. Although we have come back recently and just had another look at it, and we're not sure if maybe just the one house might be wide enough to be able to get a decent road in there. Nick, unfortunately, couldn't make the call today, but he has referred back to his transport consultant, who is having a look at it for us. So we're waiting on a second opinion on that.
Okay. Well, look, that's pretty eye-opening in terms of, as a scheme, I suppose. It's not yet the result you want, which is securing it on an option, trying to find planning, and then trying to gain planning permission on it. You're trying to unravel it. You're trying to find a solution to the problems, which, as they say, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, I suppose, as well. So you've got that headache to overcome.
Yeah.
But how many on a monthly basis are you looking? How many of these sort of opportunities would you say you're looking at? Is it daily, monthly? Is it? Give me an idea.
Yeah, all day, every day, really. So, at least 10, 15 sites every day.
Various locations?
Yeah, various locations around the country. So I was actually on a call yesterday with a client who his favourite area is Surrey, kind of the M4, M3 corridor, out of southwest London. And yeah, we're obviously Central Bedfordshire ourselves. I've just signed a client up yesterday, and we are going to be searching down near him in Hampshire. So yeah, really varied geography.
And all of them, are they so across the board of without going into detail on every single one of them, but are they looking for different things? Are they coming to you with an idea of saying, this is what I have done for the past 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the timeline might be, and they're looking to replicate that? Or are they looking for something completely bizarrely different? Or is it all of the above? Give me an idea of a bit of spread for.
A little bit of both, really. So, we have a client discovery form that we send out. I try and get an understanding of what the client's looking for, what they've done in the past, what's their ideal development and product, and then over time we kind of we'll hone that. So I'll do an initial search, and then it'll just be a little bit of back and forth to build a pipeline of opportunities for the future more than anything. And yeah, the feedback I'm getting from the clients that we have currently signed up is that they're happy with the types of opportunities that I'm bringing forward. There's not many that get rejected, so that, it's a positive for me, for sure.
When you say there's not many that get rejected, what do you mean? As in they go into the pipeline and you explore them? There must be some that kind of eventually kind of think, well, that's too risky, or that's not going to be an opportunity.
Yeah, no, sorry, mate. I meant from an initial point. So when I present on the monthly search calls, the sites that I'll present to the clients, I think that, yeah, there's not many really that don't meet criteria.
That's because you vetted them, though, isn't it? I'd say.
Yeah. So I'll do an element, a high level appraisal, and if it ticks the boxes, then I'll present it to the client on the review call. And I think in the 4 or 5 months that we've been doing this, I think I've only had 2 or 3 that have been rejected, and that the client hasn't wanted to go to the next stage, which is outreach to the landowners.
Last thing from Rory, and then I'll bring some others into it. But when you flashed up the screen at the start, you had a report. I've obviously seen those reports. Let's just touch on those, Rory, because they're powerful. I've said, sometimes we can go to all these different variety of places to find out information which is probably available in the market. But talk me through what this is very briefly.
So this is a little bit deeper, a more deeper dive into this development that we've just been looking at. This is my planning and development appraisal. So obviously, first page is just the main details for the site. A little bit of an executive summary, and then we work through on our initial high level assessment, I'll work through 10 basic planning principles, a bit of a box ticking exercise, that I suppose the more boxes that we tick on this, the higher the probability of getting planning will be, which then means, you know, the priority for going after the site becomes higher. And every site we're looking for the path of least resistance. So you can see, I won't bore you with going through and explaining all of the principles that we work from, but you can see them there on the screen. This one scored 9 out of 10, which you know is quite common for the ones that we'll find. Usually we'll get 7, 8, 9 boxes ticked, and then they're the ones that we really want to go after.
The higher the score, priority rating is high. That means priority rating means this is a positive. We should be going after this site because it's meeting the criteria that you've given it.
Yes. It's meeting the criteria that I've given it, and it means that by ticking those boxes from a planning policy standpoint, the probability of getting planning on a well-designed site is high.
Very good. Very good. Jack and James, anything that you want to pick up on this? Because this is probably the first time you guys have seen this. Any input at all on it?
It looks fascinating, Rory. Now I absolutely love this sort of thing. I would like to just sit there and just understand it all as much as you do. But no, I suppose the process for using it to get in touch with land agents. How have you worked that process? So is it just a letter to their address? So you get their address from the piece of tech that's on there, do you?
Yeah. Private homeowners, James, no, you don't, unfortunately. See, what you have to do is buy the title from the land registry. Now, we can buy that through the software for the same cost as what it is on the land registry. So again, this is the power of the software that we use, not having to go out to external websites to get this information. It's all contained within the one platform. But what I'll do, if it's a private owner, generally I will just address the letter to the homeowner, and that seems to work. And it obviously saves us £7 every time we want to send a letter. So instead of it being £7 for the title download and £1 to send the letter, it's £1 a letter. So that's a little workaround that we use.
Nice. And the other question, I suppose, is so when you do the initial analysis, I suppose it's mainly on the planning front of ultimately how likely you think a site and appropriate is to get planning. Next stage is running the numbers. I mean, I know you won't want to jump the gun, but is there a way that you can use live sales prices, all that sort of stuff, and build costs, all feeding it into what you're doing now to give you a snapshot of ultimately what you think it's worth? Can you do that at scale?
Yeah. So, sorry. I will just go. So I've built a commercial appraisal into the appraisals that I do. This one is very detailed because, as you can see, I've ran 6 different scenarios on this. So because we've got the neighbouring house next door, I've ran a number of scenarios that deal with either having to buy that or not having to buy it. Also looking at a smaller development that doesn't trigger the affordable housing requirement to see if that's viable, and then obviously the one that does include the affordable housing. So I've ran it with the 15 units that the Schlar allocation recommended, and also one with 20 units, which I think that the land can accommodate. So we'd use 15 as the baseline. But yeah, so I've included into this, very high level, but the information is available through the software. So there's if I can, I'll go back and I might as well show you while we're on the call. So I can zoom out a little bit. I'll turn off these filters, and then we're able to get price paid data for the area. So then you can see you have a really good color coded indication of the price paid data in the local.
It might be my screen, but I can't quite see that. But I can see the colours. But what's that? So that's giving you there. What you're hovering there on something red, or you were?
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, a little bit. So I can see £1,448 per square foot.
I mean, I don't know how they've got that. That sounds a bit skewed.
Yeah. Let's explore that a little bit more. That sounds.
One thing. So this will probably automatically goes in at 5 years. Now that's a bit broad for really what we're trying to do. So I will narrow that down to a year, and then you can see it's a bit more targeted. So you're looking at what £250 a square foot.
So that's telling us in that area, that postcode, the average pound per square foot across this unit sold £335 per square foot.
Yeah, 159, 460, 440. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more,
Rory, are you like that one? Those individual areas, are you able to explore what the data is behind that as well? So 450, the area that was 459, does it then break down? This is the data of the houses that are sold to reach that number.
It will do. You'll have to forgive me, mate, because I don't use it that often. Let's have a little look. Here we go. So it'll actually pull up now the residential sales. So flick that one on, and it should. So now I can see the listings.
Brilliant.
So this one here, 2-bed flat, sold, listed on the 3rd of June, listed for £185,000 at £430 a square foot.
Okay. And that's one of 5, you can see. Yeah, okay. So and it's explicit about listed as opposed to maybe sold. We can explore this all a little bit later, but it's just interesting to see it available.
Yeah, available.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it gives you a feel. I wouldn't take that as the precise science, but it's interesting. That was a good question, James, just to try and work out the numbers.
Just trying to see if there's any that we can see that have sold. Available, yeah. Yeah, they all seem available. Not on the market there.